You didn't click on this video by accident, and I am not here to diagnose you. I'm here because your soul has been screaming to be heard. If Pluto lives in your 8th house, right here, you've lived what others only read about. You've known what it means to lose everything and still wake up breathing. To give your body, your trust, your truth, and have it all taken. To inherit pain that didn't even start with you, but buried itself in your spine, in your skin, in your silence. Your body remembers what the world told you to forget. And the shame, the fear, the hunger to disappear, it wasn't yours to begin with, but you have carried it like it was sacred. But beautiful one, you were never broken. You were initiated. And the fire that tried to consume you, well, it forged something holy. And that holiness is you. So who is Pluto? The god of the underworld isn't trying to scare you. He's trying to free you. Pluto doesn't rule with fear. He rules with truth. So in mythology, he was Hades, the one who governs death, the one who waits in the dark, not to punish you, but to show you what you buried to survive. Now, in astrology, Pluto represents power, transformation, death, rebirth, wealth, and what's hidden, especially what's been hidden inside you. He governs the 8th house, yes, which means this is where he originates. This is his home. But he also governs everything no one wants to talk about. The sex, the money, the death, the control, the pain, the desire, the inheritance, whether it's energetic or ancestral. Pluto reveals what's been passed down through bloodlines. The shame your grandmother swallowed, the silence your father carried, the rage your lineage turned inward. He shows up in the body before he shows up in the chart. In the clenching of your jaw when someone crosses your boundary. In the tightening of your stomach when you receive money or have to ask for it. In the way you flinch when love gets too close. Or the way you disappear before someone else can. Pluto asks one thing. Will you stop surviving and start remembering? Will you feel what your ancestors couldn't? Will you grieve what you never got to bury? Will you name the betrayal and still open your hands to love? Because if you do, Pluto becomes your greatest ally. He stops tearing things away from you and starts burning what was never yours to begin with. And in the ashes, something wild happens. You reclaim your trust. You reclaim your body. You reclaim your magic. And most of all, you reclaim your soul. You stop fearing death because you died before. And this time, you know. You came to rise. Welcome, beautiful ones. I'm Cindy, and this is Pluto Through the Houses. This is a soul-mapped descent into the trauma you inherited and the power you're reclaiming. So let me give you this warning before we move on. This video is going to make you feel uneasy at some points. If you have this 8th house placement, this is Pluto right here. So if you go to your natal chart, you don't need to know anything about astrology to watch this video. But if you go to your natal chart, which is the chart you were born with, and you see this symbol in the 8th house, it'll see that have the number 8 here, then I'm talking to you. And what needs healing is, it's not the only thing, and I'll go over it, but it's your nervous system. Okay, so you can do this. I know you can do this. You have to hold this energy. So listening to this, talking about this, your nervous system is going to react, but you can hold this. I'm going to teach you how to move through this. Okay, so you're welcome to pause it at any time, come back to it, take a breath, walk away, come back to it. This is why I'm doing this video, and it's going to be here forever, right? So if Pluto lives in your 8th house, this lifetime holds echoes of past lives where you lost everything to become free, where betrayal came from those you trusted the most, where your power was taken or surrendered because you believed you had no choice. This is not light work. That's why I gave the warning before. This is not self-help fluff. That's not what I do. This is soul surgery. And if you know me, you know I can go deep in here, in all of the houses and everything that I talk about. Okay? The 8th house governs all that's hidden: death, sex, money, power, the taboo, the secrets nobody wants to talk about, the control, the inheritance, the transformation, not just in society, but in you. You might have grown up in a home where no one talked about the traumas, but you felt it. You saw the silence behind their eyes. You were the child who could sense what no one would say. Maybe you inherited a family legacy of secrets, abuse that was swept under the rug, money entangled in guilt or shame, bodies that never felt safe, grief that was never grieved. Maybe you watched someone die too soon, or had to grow up too fast, or learned early that trusting others came with a price. So you made a silent vow. I will never need anyone. I will do it alone. But beautiful ones, that vow you kept, that kept you alive, and it also kept you alone. Pluto in the 8th house isn't here to shame you. It's here to liberate you, to show you that your power was never lost. It was only buried. And to help you remember that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the doorway to real connection. Because the truth is, you weren't made to carry this pain forever. You were made to transmute it into power. You were never here just to survive. You are here to rise whole and holy. And today, we begin that remembrance. Before we go deeper into the 8th house wound, we need to name something sacred. This didn't start with you. It didn't even start in this lifetime. Pluto reveals karmic contracts, agreements your soul made across time to master power, trust, intimacy, and release. And when Pluto sits in your 8th house, you've likely been here before. You may have been the one with the power, or the one who was stripped of it. You may have been the one who kept the secrets, or the one the secrets were kept from. You've known what it's like to die metaphorically, or literally. You've known what it is to be reborn through fire, to lose everything that wasn't true, to hide parts of yourself because exposure once meant annihilation. And in this life, the soul asks, are you ready to break this cycle? Not just for yourself, but for the ancestors who couldn't. And for the future you're here to shape. Now, natal Pluto in the 8th house is the silent contract. So if you were born with this signed symbol, Pluto, in your 8th house, this, I'm talking to you, this is the placement of the soul who knows what it means to lose everything, to be betrayed behind closed doors, to survive what no one else saw, what no one else believed. You didn't just experience pain. You internalized silence. Now, Pluto in the 8th house is the karmic agreement to walk through the underworld, not as a punishment, but as initiation. So you may have grown up in a home where secrets were currency, where money came with strings, where power was used as a leash, not a legacy, where nothing was what it seemed on the surface. Because of that, you learned to read the room before you spoke. You learned to hide your intuition because it saw too much. You learned to play the role that kept you safe, even if it meant splitting from your truth. And your body, it remembers. The clench in your gut when money conversations come up, the tension in your chest when someone gets too close, even the way you self-abandon, the moment intimacy feels like risk. You may find yourself drawn to trauma bonding or repelled by closeness entirely. You may crave depth, but every time you sabotage it when it arrives. You may associate pleasure with danger or power with manipulation. Because Pluto in the 8th house doesn't just carry trauma, it carries inherited trauma. So the grief your mother never voiced, the shame your father buried, the losses your bloodline couldn't grieve, so they lived inside you instead. You may have incarnated with vows you didn't know you made, such as, I'll never be like them, or I'll never let anyone control me again, or I'll keep the secret so the family can survive. This all sound familiar to some of you? Beautiful one. Let me tell you, those contracts are expired. If you have this placement, those contracts are expired. This is the house of soul alchemy. And Pluto here doesn't just dig up the darkness. He hands you the gold inside it. You are the alchemist now, not the victim, not the scapegoat, not the one who must carry the pain forward. You are the breaker of bloodline patterns, the one who transmutes secrecy into sovereignty, the one who chooses transparency over trauma, the one who says, it ends with me. This is not about fixing the past. It's about reclaiming the future that was stolen from you and from every ancestor who didn't get the chance to choose. But guess what? You do. You get to have intimacy without fear. You get to experience wealth without control. You get to speak without shame. You get to feel without flinching. You are not too much, and you are too real to be small anymore. So let's talk a little bit about society's Pluto in the eighth house, the wound itself, okay, and how you could be seeing this play out. So Pluto in the 8th house doesn't just whisper through your personal chart. It echoes through systems. It pulses in society built on secrets, shame, and control. You guys let me know if this sounds familiar. We are born into a world where power is hoarded, where intimacy is commodified, and truth often buried beneath taboo. This is where sex is sold but never sacred, where death is feared but never honored, where money is worshipped but worth is destroyed. This is a society where vulnerability is punished, where asking for help is weakness, where trauma is inherited and never spoken of, where bodies, especially those of women, have been owned, violated, and silenced. We don't teach people how to hold power. We teach them how to take it. We teach them to survive, but not how to feel safe. To numb, but not know how to heal. To want, but not know how to receive. Generally, we carry the residue of this conditioning. So, families who don't talk about money but fear it. Ancestors who lived through famine, enslavement, or war, whose survival instincts became our default setting. Lineages where sexual trauma was never acknowledged, only repeated. Cultures that denied death and punished pleasure, but built empires on both. This is Pluto's domain. It is uncomfortable. It is dark, but it is also the doorway to radical transformation. Because when we understand that this pain is not personal, it's ancestral, it's cultural, and systemic, we stop blaming ourselves for the wound, and we start becoming the ones who can rewrite the legacy. So let's talk a little bit about the healing, because I'm not just here to show you what your wound is. I'm not just here to help you see it. I'm here to help you heal this, to help you walk through this. And to do that, you need to remember. Okay? So, if Pluto in the 8th house holds the wound, then the 2nd house holds the medicine. This is the axis of power and worth, of what was stolen and what you were always meant to reclaim. Where the 8th house asks, what have you survived? The 2nd house whispers, what do you deserve to feel safe receiving? Because the truth is, you can't truly open to abundance or intimacy or trust or embodiment until your nervous system knows it's safe. Until your body no longer braces for betrayal. Until survival is no longer the only goal. This is so important. The 2nd house says, your body is your home. Your pleasure is not a threat. Your worth does not need proof. And your power doesn't need to be taken. It just needs to be remembered. So, to heal the 8th house, we must ground over here. To unfreeze from generational trauma, we must touch the earth again. To release what's been trapped in our bones, we must return to the body. This might look like choosing relationships where your no is honored just as much as your yes. It also may look like learning to receive money without guilt or self-sabotage. It may look like feeling your hunger for touch, for truth, for pleasure without shame. It may also look like saying, I deserve to rest. I deserve to thrive. I deserve to exist in peace. Because the deeper truth is, you were never meant to carry all this alone. You were never meant to survive a world that doesn't see your worth. But you're here now, and that means you get to end the cycle. So, let's seal this part of the healing with a brief embodiment, steps to take, or ritual. You can call it either one. If you've seen me before, it goes by your belief system, whatever you want to call it, okay? So, this is called returning to safety. I want you to take a moment, if you can, place your hand over your heart and the other over your belly. I want you to take a deep breath through your nose. Do it with me. And as you release, I want you to sigh. Like let it out. Do it again. Inhale and sigh. Slowly, you can exhale, you can release fast, whatever feels comfortable, but make sound with it. Release it. Sigh. Now say out loud or silently, okay? It's up to you. I am safe to be in my body. I am safe to hold power. I am safe to receive. I am not my ancestors' pain. I am their prayers. I am their answered prayers. Now breathe and just let that settle. I'll say that once again. I want you to repeat it. I am safe in my body. I am safe to hold power. I am safe to receive. I am not my ancestors' pain. I am their answered prayers. Just breathe and let that settle in. This is how you begin to rewrite the script, not just for yourself, but for everyone who comes after you. That is so important. It stops with you. You rewrite, and then forevermore your line doesn't have to do this. Now, let's talk a little bit about Pluto in Aquarius that's transiting. So Pluto that's transiting into the Aquarius house, and what's going to be happening in our society and what's being played out for the next 19, 20 years, okay? So not only are you going to see it in society as a transit, but you're going to see it in yourself as well, okay? So the revolution of power, intimacy, and trust, okay? Now, and I have a series, before I move on, I have this series, this Pluto series, but I have a video where I'm explaining the whole 20 years, okay? And the stuff that could possibly come about, okay? So I'll put it up here. Be sure to watch that. It's going to help a lot, okay? So as Pluto transits Aquarius and moves through your 8th house, you are being invited. No, actually, you're being required to confront everything you've hidden in the shadows. That's all of us as a society, and that's us personally, okay? Everything you were told not to speak of. So the trauma that no one believed, yeah, you got to do that. The desires you were shamed for, that too. The rage you weren't allowed to feel, yeah, that. The gifts you were taught to fear, that too. This is not punishment. This is Pluto knocking at the door of your rebirth. So let's look at the collective and what's happening here. We're seeing the 8th house wounds spill into the public stage. Like the survivors of religious, institutional, or medical abuse are coming forward in waves. We're seeing this. Breaking the silence generations were forced to keep. Okay? We're no longer doing that. We are transmuting this. We are getting through this as a collective. Okay? Also, billion-dollar industries built on secrecy and exploitation, like the fashion, like social media algorithms, like pharmaceutical systems. These are all being exposed for the way they prey on suffering and vulnerability. Conversations around wealth inequities, right? We're seeing that. Reproductive sovereignty, we're seeing that. And end-of-life choices are demanding new frameworks. Not just reform, but revolution. Okay? So, that's on a collective level. Now, you may be feeling this too, beautiful one. You might be questioning who profits from your pain, right? You might feel grief rising from places you can't explain. That's ancestral trauma surfacing for healing. You may feel overwhelmed or angry or exhausted, but also ready. Like you have a fight in you, right? Because Pluto doesn't expose wounds to shame you. He reveals them so you can choose differently. Okay? So let me give you a little bit about what this transit is asking of you, of all of us. Pluto in Aquarius through the 8th house asks, will you transmute the pain you inherited into the power you embody? This is not for applause. This isn't even for revenge. This is for liberation. This transit may look like for you facing deep fears about money, security, or control. It may also look like leaving relationships built on manipulation, built on silence or codependency. This transit may also feel like reclaiming sensuality after a history of shame or violation. And it may also look like letting go of survival mode so you can learn to receive. It is time to let go of this survival mode. It's so important for your nervous system to reset. And I have plenty of videos, and I'll attach those too, that tell you how to reset this, how to heal this, what herbs to use, okay? It may feel like death, but it's the kind of death that births your freedom. So, as usual, I'm going to give you a personal practice, right? And a collective release, something for society as well. Okay, so let's pause here. I want you to place your hand over your heart and one over your belly, right? Lower belly under your belly button, because that is where your chakra is. So take a deep breath in through the nose, slowly, and hold it for a count of 4. Now exhale gently through the mouth. And do it again. Hold for 4 and exhale gently. And as you breathe this next time, say silently, I do not carry what was never mine. I choose to alchemize, not absorb. I am not the wound. I am the wisdom it leaves behind. Those are powerful statements, and I would like so much for you to embody that, okay? I want you to feel that. Let the energy of the collective grief move through you, not into you, not to stay there, but to move through you, okay? This is what healing looks like in a Pluto transit. You're not bypassing it. You're not numbing it. You're not ignoring it. You're alchemizing it. This is not easy work, okay? It's simple, but it's not easy, okay? Now, I'll leave you with this final words and healing, okay? Pluto in the 8th house is the soul of the survivor who's turned priestess, the one who was exiled and then rebuilt the altar inside their own body. If this is your house, then please, if you've heard nothing else, hear this. You are not too much. You are not too broken. And you are not here to suffer anymore. You are here to transform. You are here to teach your nervous system peace. You are here to hold power and softness at the same time. You are here to be the first in your line to stop surviving and start thriving. So let this be your moment. Let this be the lifetime where the chains dissolve, the silent breaks, and your body remembers that you are the altar. You are the inheritance. And beautiful one, you are the healer they prayed for. Now, if this message stirred something inside you, you are not alone, beautiful one. This is part of my hero series, Pluto Through the Houses, a soul map journey through trauma, transformation, and true power. And I share new episodes in this particular series on Fridays. So you can also join me for Sacred Sync, and every Tuesday and Thursday, that's what I put out, a pulse check on the energy of the day through tarot, channeling, and magic. There's a lot of magic and channeling that are going through these vibrations, right? So please subscribe, turn on your notifications, and if you feel called, comment below and tell me what part of you that you are ready to reclaim. Let's do this together. A world where no one has to alchemize alone. Not anymore.